All right, good morning, everyone. I see everybody's kind of filing in. It is great to all have you here with us. I am Haley Perry, and I'm the founder and CEO of Dandi Day. So we've been around for a couple of years, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Itmar and David from Synergio. And how long was it ago that we met? It was like maybe a year ago.
First time we met
something
was
like that.
about a year ago. Correct.
Yeah, that we just kind of started talking. So it's always fun to see kind of the journey and how everything comes together. I'm trying to see all of our participants right now. I think we still have people coming in. Oh, hey, Alan, Amanda. I would love for everybody just to kind of share in the chat box where you're signing in from today. I'll do it as well. And you want to share with everyone, just not the host and the panelist. Averaglo in the house. Hi, Amanda. So this is always one of my favorite parts, seeing where everybody is. And oh, hi, Kai. It's been forever. Oh, you're right next to Marty. Hello, Marty, and someone from Houston, Daniel. From Stamford, Connecticut. Awesome. In Milwaukee. So yeah, people from all over the states, all over the world signing in today. Great. And so it's morning for me, it's evening for you guys.
Indeed.
Right. And so we just finished a few minutes. So let's go ahead and dive in. So we're going to be talking about smart ingredients today, but also a little bit more just about the company too. And I always love introducing a new ingredient company to the marketplace because there's typically a very rich story when you just don't decide like, oh, I'm going to launch a new ingredient and I'm going to go into the cosmetics industry. There's a lot that goes behind that. And those are the things that really help us understand the commitment to the science, but also the problem that you're trying to solve. And so we're going to be doing that today. What I really found interesting about your company is that you have this smart antimicrobial and I used to sell multifunctional ingredients, and some of the people that are on today, I used to work with them to help them use natural alternatives to controversial ingredients and bridge that gap from an application standpoint. So there's all kinds of different approaches. So I thought you guys had a really interesting approach to that place in the market for preservation, which is a very big field of opportunity. And so Itmar, can you please share a little bit with us about who you are, what you do for the company, and well, and then David, sorry, David, you don't have to turn off your camera yet. You can say who you are and what you do too. We're just doing the introductions right now.
We are highly educated, what we're being told, that's what we do.
Or your wives have trained you well.
Yeah, indeed. So hi everybody, good morning, indeed, almost evening in Israel. Here it's 6 p.m, so it depends where you are in the States, a few hours ahead of you. I'm Itamar Levy. I'm the CEO of Synergio since last summer. A few words about myself, and then we'll dive into the company and who we are and what are we pursuing here in this world. So I'm 46. I live in Israel. If any of you had previously visited the country, so it's about 15 miles north of Tel Aviv. I'm a father to 4 great children and a husband to Tal. Tal is a partner at EY which probably some of you know, the big accounting firm, which is a global firm. And my background is kind of diverse, lots of managerial skills, commercial and operational. And I joined Synergio again last August. So that's a little bit about myself. About the company itself, the company was established 11 years ago in 2010. The founder of the company is Barak Tzadok, and the company basically started from a tragedy, a personal tragedy that Barak has experienced. Barak has lost his wife while fighting cancer, and that basically led Barak to build a business which promotes a healthier world, both for the users, ourselves, and of course for the planet. And that's been the vision of the company since then. So the vision has not changed. That's basically what inspires us on our day-to-day job. And we are promoting a healthier world. We will discuss that throughout the webinar. And basically we stand by three main pillars. One would be health. So indeed, we are working with natural ingredients, typically come from nature, which are, to some extent could be healthier, but not always the case. But we are, of course, embracing health. And we do see how our ingredients promote a healthier system, a more balanced system in our skin. Second pillar that we stand by is sustainability. So we do believe that we are here also to protect the earth. And we make sure that throughout the different value chain of our business, we keep an open eye of whether we hurt Earth or not. And last but not least is, of course, we are a biotech company. We champion technology, and we believe that by technology, we could create some and promote some very novel and sophisticated solutions that at the end of the day would be used in products and would promote a healthier world and healthier planet.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to shrink the screen just a little bit so I can also get to my notes. So I didn't realize that the story behind Barak's wife and that being really the impetus for starting and doing all of this research. So I think that's really powerful, that it has that personal experience.
Indeed.
Yeah, and when you talk about being on the cutting edge of biotechnology, can you just share a little bit more about what that looks like, what that technology and research looks like?
Sure. So we'll start with the people because, we believe that behind technology, there are people and smart people developing the technology for us to use. So that's basically the group of people behind Synergio.
You're right here, right in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. And you have also Dave. You also have David here.
David, yeah.
And lots of scientists. So that's the team.
How many do you have on your team? About how many scientists do you have on your team?
The entire company is 35 people, out of which 20 are within the R&D department.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Approximately half. Yeah, pretty heavy. Approximately half of the 20 are PhDs.
Okay.
And I would know that. This photo was taken not far from the offices in Jerusalem. Our offices and the laboratories are based within the high-tech park of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And this picture was taken in the Botanical Park, which is just, neighboring the university. Yeah, it is a pretty place. Everybody should come visit. I can assure you that you would like Israel. So that's the group of people. Again, we have 35 employees, about 10 PhDs supporting the ongoing R&D process that we've developed. And again, we just have to thank these great people promoting the technology and diving a little bit further into basically what are we using on our day-to-day development process into creating this smart ingredients. So I would point the EcoData. The EcoData is a data-driven computational based platform, which was basically developed and built by the company. Again, the company has been around for 11 years. has tested hundreds of natural extracts, and we have a great database which basically shows us what's the performance of the specific ingredient, what does it kill, what it doesn't kill, how it affects organoleptically the formulation that it needs to be integrated into, what type of odor properties the ingredient has, what type of color properties, whether we need to clean the color properties or the odor properties, etc. What are the specific bioactives, and last but not least is what type of killing mechanism the specific ingredient basically is using, to protect itself. And I believe that we will touch a little bit during this presentation of the why we consider our ingredients as unique. But again, just wanted to share with you the EcoData. This is a great platform which gives us the ability basically to expedite the development process and to launch products, the first of which has been launched a few months ago in a very timely manner. And that's a few words about the EcoData.
Well, I have some more questions about the EcoData. It's data, not dado, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dado. I mean, it's
it is dado. Okay.
It is dado. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
And you have the icon at the end also.
Yeah, I was like, well, maybe I'm seeing that wrong. Actually, my 4-year-old calls her dad, my husband, Dado. So probably say around the house, Dado. So for the EcoData, I would love to hear kind of how you compose the all the information. Is it something just over your years of research that was then put into the data, or is it are there some algorithms that y'all have created to help you to help support this research? I think that's one of the things I found so interesting about like the method that you approached the smart microbial. Like, so can you share a little bit of that with us?
Sure. So today the EcoData basically consists of information that we added into the system. So that's information that we basically and the EcoData is something which is developing on a day-to-day, because any type of test of analytical test, microbiology test, formulation information, any type of information basically is being added into the system. Therefore, it's being being improved on a daily basis. What we are working now is to connect this database into an external databases which are in the public, and then we would have even much more powerful database which would consist on one end our information, proprietary information, and on the other end also public available information. Which there's a lot of information out there, and I think the tough thing is to see how you build the right algorithm and the right questions that you're asking. How do you intersect the data and come up with answers? So that's a little bit further into the EcoData.
Well, when you say that it's input into this system, is that something that's being manually input by your team? By the people who are doing the research, or is it like maybe artificial intelligence that's going out and looking for new things and then bringing it in to the data?
So today it's still manual.
Okay.
We're not there yet in terms of AI, artificial intelligence. That would be the next generation of this data platform. Today we are still adding that manually, and that's when we have a dedicated small department within the company that basically is in charge of making sure that all the information is compiled and added.
I think that's great, because we hear a lot about AI, and it does take time to be able. You have to have information to start with, right, in order for AI to get smarter, and so really having that information very clear and so thorough, then that makes automation, the potential for it to be more accurate, higher in the future.
Sure.
So we actually have a couple of questions coming in. So one is from Jason and asking if the EcoData a design of experiments is a design of experiments type of platform.
No, it's not a design of experiment type of platform.
Okay.
This is a different platform that sometimes we are using design of experiments. Basically, the EcoData allows us, to withdraw on all of the history and the information that the company has developed over the years. And I would give you an example. We were approached by one of the multinationals companies, very large global company, with a request to develop a unique natural preservation system to one of their products. That's something that has happened 10 months ago. And, we've been able to come up with a solution that, didn't only meet the acceptance criteria of the customer, also exceeded the acceptance criteria, which were very strict. And we've done that over a period of 10 weeks. And I must say that, without using the EcoData, it is for the first phase. Now we're going through an aging process and also some consumer testing. But our solution, our IP protected antimicrobial solution has been developed over a period of 10 weeks within the company. And that basically was shared with the customer. I just cannot disclose the name due to confidentiality reason, but I'm sure that all of you know the customer. And I believe that, without the EcoData and without the great people that we have, we've not been able to do that under a very short period of time. And also the R&D people from the customer end were very surprised, of how quickly we've been able to come up with a solution, which worked, just great in their product, and hopefully would be commercialized within the next few months.
Oh wow, that's super exciting. So what's coming to my mind is like, under promise and over deliver. That was like definitely, but you're not under promising anything. So that's great. That's super exciting. Well, thank you for sharing more about the EcoData, because as we're seeing new technology come in from that actual IT portion, and there's so much happening that's helping us accelerate innovation. It's good for us as chemists and people who are developing products, product creators, to understand how data comes to our computers in front of us, so we know where we can go, and if there's holes somewhere, or if it's going to take maybe shorter or longer than we expect, that we understand what that methodology is and the acquisition of that information. So yeah, very exciting.
Great.
Okay.
So maybe at this point, I will share with you a little bit, what basically we have learned from the research that the company has been deploying over the last 10 years. So I mean, the main thing that we've learned is, how powerful nature is, and it's not by incident that we go out to the garden and we have trees, that growing for over periods of hundreds of decades of years and hundreds and thousands of years.
You have the botanical gardens right across from your tech center.
Exactly, and they do have a great protecting mechanism, protecting themselves against everything, all type of diseases and all type of viruses. And at the end of the day, what we learn to appreciate, throughout the research process that we're doing is how strong is nature, how powerful is nature, and if you're able, to build or to create the right tools, the right development tools of working with nature, then you could create great stuff, and great solutions out of nature. And at the end of the day, what we also learn is that building a synergistic solution. So we are combining different killing mechanism. Our solution, and we have a slide on that as well. Our solution is composed of a few different killing mechanism, which then basically allows our solution to be very targeted, to be very low dosage in uses. Also has some protecting the microbiome effect. So at the end of the day, what we learn to appreciate is nature. That everything basically resides in nature. And you just need to develop the right tools to work with that. And that's something that we still appreciate every day. And we are considering ourselves as a company that would not divert into other type of solutions, whether it's petroleum-based or synthetic solution. We would continue working with nature and try and promoting natural ingredients and natural solutions.
Yeah, that's great to hear that it's something that you're really focused on and not trying to be a jack of all trades, but really have that
Yeah,
focus.
for sure.
And we definitely need more natural products available in the preservation area. I know there's what is it, GC3, G3C, G Marty, Nicole, help me out here. What is the GC3? Thank you, Nicole. And they really had those initiatives to find new preservative systems, natural preservative systems. And were you a part of that group as well? Is that how?
At that point in time, as far as I know, we've been part of that group. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the Green Chemistry and Commerce Council,
Right.
where they're really helping look at different innovations. And it was a few years ago that there was a big push out to look and search for natural preservatives. And it does take time. Correct. It takes time for innovations to come about with the research and also the commercialization. It's like one thing to have the data and to understand how to do this. Is another thing to commercialize a product and to make it available, at a production scale, production or global scale. So sure. And share more about how you harness the power of nature.
I mean, I will. I'll tell you a little bit, about the company, and I would also answer and would go deeper into that. So again, the company since 2009 basically has been around for almost 12 years now, and I would say that the first cycle of business the company basically deployed is creating an all-natural cosmetics formulation. So the intention of the business at that point of time was basically to introduce the market with a finished product and creating a brand by itself, or either licensing some of the IP protected formulation into big players. Mm-hmm. And indeed, the company at that point of time, and we're talking somewhere around 2015, we had 2 patents basically registered that are around the all-natural finished goods. So one patent is specifically for the formulation, and the second patent is anti-tear system. So it's all-natural anti-tear system, basically masking the eye and protecting the eye for no tears. And part of the discussion with, I believe it was Johnson & Johnson around 2015, 2014, the company had some discussion, I was not around at that time, of maybe commercializing our formulation together with J&J. And I believe that it was Johnson & Johnson that was very, very impressed with the natural preservation system and the natural surfactants that we have been using in our IP protected formulation. And I think it's also thanks to Johnson & Johnson, where basically the company has diverted a little bit from further creating all natural cosmetics products into the preservation sector. And as of that point, basically the company has been focused on creating unique IP protected preservations, natural preservations. And indeed, we've also been successful in launching one of our systems into two of Unilever products. One is Scent Hive, and the second is Love, Beauty, and Planet. So our system has been integrated to some of their products as well. But at that point of time, the business model that the company had pursued was basically IP licensing. So the idea was to team up with the multinationals to tailor-make a solution to their specific application, and then to have an IP on the solution, and just to do IP licensing very, very simply. And when I came into the company, what I saw is that we indeed have a unique set of assets and unique set of solutions. And I thought to myself, it makes sense, to commercialize. As indeed you said, Haley, it's not easy to commercialize a product, but I saw we have a great product and we should commercialize it in the right way. And basically, since the last 8 months, and David has joined us also at the beginning of this year, we've started to commercialize the product. it's not an easy task, to go through the commercialization process. And indeed, the first product that we introduced the market with, Biomeco 94, which David will tell you all about during the presentation, that was the first product to market. So that's how the company has evolved over the years.
Yeah, that's so great. And someone had raised their hand, and it went down. If you could just put your question in the chat box, and I would love for the comments and chats to be focused on any questions that are directed or related to Synergio and what we have here. So maybe she accidentally pressed the button. So okay.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to continue just sharing a little bit more about yeah, so these are some of the claims. So we know it can do a lot of really great things. And this is where the commercialization gets super fun, right? So looking at the consumer products goods industry, we want to have a lot of information and verification. And there's so many different things that you have to do in order to realize these partnerships. So also learning about your ingredients. I think it helps you learn about the market too. And these things are not, they just don't happen overnight. So, but it's great to see so many
claims.
So many claims, right? Yeah. Vegan, plant-based, non-GMO, and the natural, the ISO.
Yeah, I mean, Haley, the way obviously our company is a business to business. We serve businesses around the world, but we consider ourselves as a B2B2C company. So we're not facing directly the end users, the consumers, but we consider as one of our tasks is to provide a solution to our customers, which then could be basically leveraged by our customers vis-a-vis their consumers. So we do see that as part of our task, to provide our customers with a list of claims that would then be able either to increase market share to the specific customer, maybe to charge a certain premium of the product by using one of these claims. And I think this claim is just an evidence of how unique the product is. So you have a long list of claims: clean label, EWG, Cosmos, of course. The product is natural also by ISO. So I'm not sure. I believe that the participant know the difference between ISO standards and the Cosmos standards. So the ISO are typically much more strict than the Cosmos in terms of naturality and what the product is allowed to go through and not. So again, we have this list of claims, and we do think we are considering ourselves as partially reshaping the CPG industry, because as far as we know, we are not really aware of a 100% natural solution, which doesn't have a very strong odor properties, doesn't have any unique color properties. They could be used with a white emulsion based applications, is not fully natural by ISO, is sold at a price that one could handle. So you don't have to pay $400 per 1 kilogram, and then to use it at 2%.
700.
Yeah,
it goes up.
It goes up. Yeah. It goes up, and the dosage also is affecting, of course, the cost in use for the customers. So we see that as part of our tasks, and when developing solutions and products, then we make sure to keep a good set of claims, which could be claimed by our customers.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned on here that it can replace blacklisted ingredients. And I will say it was through Credo, Mia Davis from Credo. She was the one who introduced me to you guys, and we've known each other for quite a while. So, and she's very well known even to a lot of people on this call. So I was excited to learn more about it, and to see the excitement from the marketplace, from the retailers, that, oh, this could be a really great solution in the future. And I know we're going to get into the science a little bit more. But yeah, I need to.
I believe that the last thing I would like to share with you, and then I believe David will take the lead, is what we've talked during the discussion, a little bit about the EcoData, a little bit about the development process. So indeed, we are combining a combination of few synergistic killing mechanism, and our solution, the BioMeco 94, and the BioMeco family in general, are composed of few ingredients. And I believe that any ingredient by its own is not sufficient. It's the combination that makes sense and gives the required efficacy that is obviously required by preservation systems. Yeah. And another interesting thing about that is basically, as it's smart also by how easy it is to tweak the innovation. So we could either add a mechanism or replace a mechanism, and then we could basically create another type of solution to a different type of application, whether it's oral care or cleansing based application. So that's a little bit about the smart ingredients.
It's very, so happy to take specific.
More. Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we hear in the industry, especially when we first started moving away from parabens and then phenoxyethanol, was like there's no silver bullet. And I think that the industry is getting accustomed to that, understanding that, hey, every system, whether it's an oil and water emulsion, water and oil, if there are pigments, if it's an oral care solution, if it's a solid, if it's liquid, they all have their individual challenges when it comes to microbes and bacteria, yeast and mold, and that environment. So it might be more tedious from a research standpoint, from an R&D standpoint, if it's just that chemist that is responsible for understanding and coming up with all the solutions. But having the EcoData and you guys behind that, being able to help design that for them in this very Tetris-like way. I loved Tetris growing up. It was like my favorite game. Then you really have it looks like you really have again, a great method to be able to address what those problems are. And I think the market right now is in a place, and the scientists are in a place where they understand that, and they want that partnership. They want that collaboration and partnership, because these are kind of big problems that we're facing.
We are. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the last topic which I will discuss with you. Is again, we see the global problem about the planet. And again, I think that the last summer was a great example of where we're heading with what has happened in Germany, what then happened in the north and eastern coast of the United States, in New Jersey, and of course, all the fires that are going wild all over the place. Is, we have to protect the planet. We have to protect ourselves. We see how fragile we are, through COVID. And we do believe that, each one of us should be responsible of promoting, these important aspects. And we come to that from a very practical point of view. So we understand that the industry should act as an industry, and it should be profitable. It should make sense economically. If it doesn't make sense economically, it would not work. And we are doing what we can, to have our solution accessible by the industry. So again, in terms of pricing, in terms of organoleptics. We don't want our lotion to be black. We don't want it to smell like sulfur. And we don't want it to cost There's nothing wrong with grandma. And we don't want it to cost $700 because no one would buy it. So we do see that as a huge problem, and we do keep an open eye of in our solutions to make sure that they're healthy both to us and of course to our planet.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that first part about the history of the company. And
sure, thank you. And David, please turn on your camera.
David is up next.
David is up next.
Yeah, so David, please share with us like what it is that you do for the company. And
sure. So my name is David Hart, and I am our VP of Sales and Business Development. So talking about commercialization, that's really my job, bringing this great innovation to the market. My background is technical, value-added, innovative ingredient sales and the commercial for food, nutraceutical, personal care. I have a bachelor's and a master's in agricultural and resource economics from UC Davis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's like kind of quick about me, and I think for the webinar, probably I'll jump into more of the kind of specific information about our Biome Echo 94 product, which is the first one that we're bringing to the market.
About that first, the first commercialization of the Synergio product. So, are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, here we go. So I think in the chat box, I saw that Monica had asked about, what the ingredients were and if they're biosynthesized or natural derived, etc. So I have some these interesting information here, and I'll answer your question explicitly. So the in key for our Biome Echo 94, there are 3 ingredients. The first is Styrax benzoin gum, Secundus mucorosi extract, that's soap nut, and then the Saccharomyces sugarcane extract ferment extract, which is one inky. It's also known as maltol, and it comes from fermentation, so it's a natural version of maltol. And that's, talking about the building blocks, these are the 3, different mechanisms that give the Biome Echo 94 its efficacy. And, like Itamar mentioned, the company has really focused on preservation and antimicrobials for, a long time. I would say, specifically, on that since 2015. So using natural extracts. So here, I'll dive into that a little bit more. So there's no biosynthesis. We're not synthesizing. It's not chemical reactions. We identify and learn how to extract, gather the molecules that nature has made to protect itself. To mention, trees, live for a long time, and there's lots of different, organisms and especially plants on the planet. And each of those has developed all different sorts of, phyto compounds to be able to protect themselves. So our research dives into understanding those phyto compounds and then being able to deploy them, understand what they do, and then being able to deploy them for a specific purpose. In our case, we're looking at, preservation of personal care products. So again, it's natural according to the ISO, the strict ISO 16128 definition, and also Cosmos certified. So this is the INKI, and that's kind of pulls it a little bit more into the practicality of how we do our product development and bring things to the market.
That's perfect. Yeah, and I've heard a lot about soap nut over the years, and knowing and understanding it has many different properties. But some of these other ones were surprising to me, especially sugarcane juice, because sugar can sometimes be a problem in products, and so it was really interesting to see this one. So can you tell us a little bit more about how these work synergistically together?
Yeah, so each one of those has its specific function or focus. The Secundus mucorosi, we're talking about saponins, and that has to do with natural surfactants. So it can permeate or change the membrane permeability of the microorganisms.
Okay.
The Styrax benzoin, those are phenols, and a lot of phenolic compounds have lots of different functions, including antioxidant functions, but also antimicrobial functions, kind of as a kill mechanism. And then the maltol is known as a chelator, so it's able to pick up all those ions to keep them from doing other reactions.
Yeah, this little. Oh, Monica's saying thank you.
Okay, awesome. So
to pick up the metals, because those feed the microorganisms, and that's how they grow. So I do like the strategy of being able to pick apart the microorganisms, take away their food, and in the end, biome prevails. So wonderful. Well, I know you have some more slides that you're going to share with us. I'm trying to look up, because whenever I shrink my screen, then it shrinks it for everyone. So I'm trying to look up on my phone all of my questions that I had for you. So I am paying attention. But yeah,
sure.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about the sustainability aspect. And whenever you're looking at commercializing a product, that's where sustainability gets super interesting. So
yeah, so I mean, a couple of things. First, I'll put in a plug for the next webinar that we're doing with you in November, which is going to be a really deep dive on the technical side of things. So in this webinar, we don't have lots of tables with challenge test results, et cetera, it's more kind of a high level story, but the next webinar is really going to be that deep dive into the technical side of things.
Yeah, well, we get to really nerd out. So
yes, exactly. So a little bit about the sustainability. First of all, we think about sustainability all through the value chain, and from the sourcing and picking of the biomass and feedstock through the production processes themselves, and then the product also. So when the two main ingredients, soap nut and benzoene, those are sourced from Nepal, India, and Indonesia, respectively. And we have an employee that travels to those places and has over the years forged long-term relationships with the local, we'll call them farmers or farmers and gatherers, who are sourcing those ingredients, basically from nature. And we make sure that kind of our internal standards certainly are met, both in terms of quality and in terms of ethical sourcing. And we have invested in those long-term relationships that give us access to these kind of exotic materials. So that's, I think, from our perspective, a big part of our social responsibility.
Yeah.
When we talk about the process itself, the spent biomass from the extraction process, first of all, we're using green chemistry. So things are manufactured either via fermentation or via a gentle water ethanolic extraction. So again, it's not chemistry, it's extraction. And most people probably on the call today, use some sort of plant extract, in their day-to-day, like tea or coffee. So that's really kind of, a similar process to what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But also in the extraction facility, the plant waste is reused in a bioreactor to make energy. So, there's this kind of circular economy. Same thing, with the water, it's reused, etc. So we really
into your processes for, your business processes and practices.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's always good to know.
Yeah, and the ingredients themselves, they're clean and they're biodegradable ingredients. One of the things, also about clean ingredients, the INCI, it's clean label. So it's botanical names and not chemical names. So that's something that can help our customers create products that are more consumer friendly.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so we talked a little bit about what makes them sustainable and kind of where they come from, and where is the product manufactured? It's in Jerusalem that it's manufactured?
No, so we have a third-party partner, again, a long-term relationship that we have with them that manufactures for us according to our specific process and using some unique equipment that we have located in their facility. So they're located in India.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and I think that's often very common too, because you're at a university, we've done the research, and then this is part of that commercialization process. So, and having that oversight. And so we talked about the building blocks, the tetras, my favorite childhood game. And so we know when we have this smart preservation, smart antimicrobial, that we have these 5 different aspects to the biomeco. And so I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, those 5 different.
Yeah, sure. Hold on a second.
I know your children are very excited to hear about it as well.
Oh, yes. This is what happens when, yes, Mikey. Because I'm talking on the phone. Yes, that's what happens when you do the webinar and it's time for after dinner showers.
It's all right. It's all right. This is real life.
Yes, that was my 4-year-old. Anyway, so we're talking about sustainable and multifunctional ingredients, and again, the multifunctional has to do with the fact that as a preservative, they're not listed on the Annex 5, so there are other functions, and the functions are antimicrobial, antioxidant, surfactant, chelator, which are fairly call them product functional functions, and then the microbiome, which is a whole separate discussion. We'll talk about that a little bit more right now also. So the first thing is the antimicrobial. We have like I mentioned, a formulation lab and a full microbiology lab, and we do challenge testing kind of day in, day out for the last 6-7+ years. And really, a lot of our R&D function focus has been on antimicrobial efficacy. Both the ISO 11930 microorganisms, as well as customer-specific microorganisms and/or protocols. Like I mentioned before, the benzoene has phenols, and the phenols are strong antioxidants. We've done testing, comparing that to ascorbic acid, or also ORAC testing comparing to tocopherol, and it has a similar effect. Soap nut is a surfactant, so it can act as a natural surfactant. The maltol is a chelator. Some of our customers have been able to eliminate the use of EDTA, which is one of those blacklisted ingredients, by using our Biome Echo 94. And the last is the microbiome. I kind of saved the best for last, because here we have had some really interesting in vitro test results from our micro lab, where we've taken pooled microorganisms and then Staph epidermidis as a marker. And what our studies have shown is that our Biome Echo 94 and our other Biome Echo products also, they're able to target, say, the bad microorganisms, especially the ones that you want to protect your personal care product from. But on the other hand, on the at least in vitro, they don't affect the Staph epidermidis, which is kind of which is our target, for like the good guys.
Okay. Yeah.
And we've compared that to other preservative systems, either mixtures of parabens or phenoxyethanol-based systems, and we've shown, and those tend to just kill everything. Where our solution is much more targeted, and we call it micro-targeting, where again it kind of comes back to that Tetris, smart ingredient Tetris building block solution, where we target very specific microorganisms, and it leaves the other ones alone. So we're go on. Well, and we're looking at doing some clinical trials, hopefully before the end of the year, to be able to show that in vivo.
Yeah, well, that's so exciting. Thank you for sharing. Again, this is just a snippet of what we will be doing a deep dive in November. We don't want to overwhelm everyone and give ample time to do research and kind of look a little bit more. So I think is this the last slide, David?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, and so I know you're going to have your contact information If you have questions, if you'd like to request a sample, any data, and pricing, then David can get you set in the right direction or send you that information. So, and you have distributors here in the US, which is Devereaux Specialties. So I've known Devereaux for a long time and have used some of their ingredients. And then, and you have distribution in other parts of the world as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Devereaux is our exclusive distributor for the US, and we're really happy to partner with them. And we also have Variati, which is our distributor in Italy. And we're in the process of vetting/onboarding other distributors in Western Europe and in parts of Asia.
Yeah, wonderful. And I'll make sure that everybody that was on today and who registered, you'll get a copy of the recording as well as contact information. And I'd love to bring Itamar back on, and you know, if there's any questions that you have, I guess we can, you know, one of the things that we typically get asked about is like pack sizes or samples, use level, and kind of what systems it can be used in immediately. So if anybody has a question, feel free to put it in the chat box, but you know, if you could just share really quickly, what does that look like to actually use it in the lab once they get a sample?
Yeah, so the Biome Echo 94, which is our first product that is designed mainly for emulsion-based systems. Okay. You know, it could be water and oil, oil and water. We've also shown it to work in cleansers, okay. But the cleansers, it's a little more, say, formulation specific, where it needs to have, you know, a fairly high, it needs to be viscous and have a fairly high level of surfactants.
Okay, so not a lot of like free water.
Yeah, so like the Biome Echo 94 for like micellar water or toners, it doesn't work very well, you know, because it's not water, it's not completely water soluble. So that's in terms of the applications. In terms of samples, by the way, Devereaux has samples available in the US in their offices in LA. Sample sizes are 20-gram samples, which is enough, you know, for benchtop work. Because here's kind of the kicker, especially when we're talking about natural products, the dosage is really low. So for our Biome Echo 94, we're talking about a 0.3 to a 0.5% dosage range, where our recommended dosage is 0.4.
Okay, yeah, and I've actually worked with it in the lab, actually with a mineral sunscreen, an all zinc mineral sunscreen, and I had it third-party tested, and I was like, okay, we'll see how it works. It's worked. It's great. So I'll have some samples for you guys when you come out here for
Haley,
Long Beach.
Haley, we are getting some questions on the chats feed.
Yes. Okay.
Monica is asking if we are working on other ingredients categories for CPG, example fragrance. So the answer is we are. I mean, the company intends on basically building a robust, you know, product portfolio, and we're about to launch 2 more products within the next 8 weeks, Biome Echo 28 and Biome Echo 98, which I believe will be introduced by David in the Suppliers Day in October. We are working on other products based on different categories. So fragrance is not something that we see in the near future, but for sure, we're going to have products for cleansing based applications. We would have products for water-based applications, you know, micellar water, face toner, etc. So that's something that we are building up the portfolio of products as we go along. And the second question was whether the products are fully commercial and available at scale. So the answer is yes. We do have a great, you know, partnership with our CMO. We do have a great supply chain in-house within the company. We do have great access to the growers, you know, guaranteeing sufficient feedstock for big quantities. So the answer is yes. You can get samples either from us directly or from Devereaux in the States, of course. They have samples. They would be giving samples over the next few weeks of Biome Echo 28 and 98, which we could share maybe in the next webinar, a little bit of information about that. and they are fully commercial available. Again, some of the products were integrated into Unilever products. That's something we could share. So that's regarding the 2 questions which were on the chat feed.
Can you send me samples, please? I'm working on an oral care project. So yes. So well, I have a lot of other questions, but we're coming up to time here. And I really encourage Monica, anybody else on here, Kai, to reach out directly to David if you have more questions about how to use the material. And then in the next webinar, we are going to go into a more deep dive, looking at those examples, looking at the in vitro studies, the microbiome, and really unpack all of the studies around those 5 different aspects of this smart ingredient. And so finally, the world is opening up more, and we're going to be able to see each other. And so I know we have a few shows coming up. So where all can we find you in terms of out in the virtual world, and then in the physical world, and in the coming up?
So in the virtual world, you know, our website, synergio.com. We're also on the UL Prospector, Covalo, and Novi Connect databases. Oh, yes, he has garlic breath. Good for him. Those are on the digital space. You know, also you can find us on LinkedIn. In the real world, how about that? You know, the world is opening up again. I'm so excited. We'll be at the LA or California SCC Supplier Day in Long Beach in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
And also in the New York SCC Supplier Day. Okay. Okay. Okay, no. Anyway, we'll be in New York, and then later in November, we will be in Making Cosmetics in Milan, also with our distributor, Variati.
Wonderful. So and then our next webinar will be on November 17th. So if you want to put that on your calendar, and then actually at Suppliers Day, your Synergio is on the Dandi Day ingredient, sustainable ingredient hot list. So I have a list of 10 ingredient suppliers and their technologies that I have selected as a guide for my community to go around and look at. And so there will be like big Dandi Day floor stickers so you can find everybody. And so I'm really excited to be able to see you guys again in person and learn about the new products. So if there's any other questions, this is last call for questions. And if not, please follow us on LinkedIn. And if you're not signed up for the Dandi Day eBlast or our community, please do so. All that information is on really on my LinkedIn. So, and I just thank you all so much for your time and attention today. And David, for coming on as your family's having dinner without you. We really appreciate that. And I know that trying to do webinars from different places of the world can be challenging, but I feel really good about what we did today, and I'm looking forward to getting this ingredient out and people using it, because I do believe it's going to be a really great solution. So thank you all so much, and
thank you,
make
Haley.
it a great day.
Thank you for all the participants.
Bye.
Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.